So basically, we just have to hide in our closet. Nope, Maria, that's not even remotely what I said in that video. What I said is, if you are thinking about bringing your phone to a protest, there are important things that you need to understand about how law enforcement can and will legally and perhaps illegally access your private personal information off of your phone, and then you need to plan accordingly. Nowhere in that video did I say that we should all go hide in our closets. I don't know if this is the first time that you've ever interfaced with my content. That video went pretty viral for me. So I have lots of people who are seeing it who don't really know what kind of content I make or what I advocate for. Now is the moment in history in which we all decide that we have no kings in America, that we are not going to take this lying down. As I say over and over and over again, it is not so much what horrible, terrible, illegal things the regime tries to do. It is very much how we choose to respond. They are trying to make us scared. They are trying to do what is called chill descent. They are trying to make you frozen so that you will just hide in your closet, hide in your home, be afraid to exercise your rights. And then they can enact their horrible, terrible, white supremacist, oppressive vision for the United States. One thing that would-be authoritarians do, and also maybe like your narcissistic ex-boyfriend did, is that they try to do bad and terrible things. They try to do illegal things. They try to push your boundaries and see what they can get away with. Donald Trump and his little ghoul, Stephen Miller, all 4'10" of him, they are constantly trying to break the law. They are constantly trying to do illegal things and see what they can get away with. They don't feel constrained by the law whatsoever. What they are constrained by is massive public opposition. This is very much what authoritarians do. They take power that they do not have a right to access, and then they watch and see if people resist. If nobody resists, right? If nobody pushes back, if people cower in their homes, then they're like, awesome, cool, that's a power that I now have, right? I have taken this thing by force and nobody has stopped me. Nobody has pushed back. There is not massive public opposition to what I'm doing, so this is the new normal. I now have this power, right? This is like the bully who takes away your lunch money. If he gets away with it the first day, he'll come back day after day after day. He's like, no, this is a thing I'm allowed to do. Nobody's going to stop me. The thing that you and I and everybody else really needs to understand is that they will declare they have power they do not have. They will try to take power they do not have. And then they are waiting to see if we, the American people, collectively exercise our power. One of the things that Heather Cox Richardson talked about the other day was how there's all this power sloshing around in the United States right now. That power ultimately comes from the people. We all have our small measures of power. And in a representative democracy, we loan that power to our duly elected representatives. We entrust them with our little measures of power so that they can govern on our behalf. Nobody governs without the consent of the governed, without the consent of the people. So right now you have a situation in which only like 32% of American adults voted for Donald Trump. He's deeply unpopular. He's doing things that are absolutely pissing off more and more people. The Republicans are deeply unpopular. And because the Republicans are so freely abdicating their duty to their constituents and are betraying their oath to the Constitution, and because a majority of Americans did not vote for and do not want Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has very clearly, openly declared that Project 2025 is the plan, right? He's talking up Russell Vogt, Project 2025 architect, all day long. And only 4% of Americans like Project 2025. 4% approval for Project 2025. So what we have right now is a situation where Donald Trump is declining. His cognitive capabilities are not good. His health is not good. And two deeply despised men in government who are not elected. There is nobody in this country who has given their small measure of power to these men, Stephen Miller and Russell Vogt. Those two men are trying to grab sloshing power in the United States. All of that sloshing power belongs to us, the people. And if we choose to go hide in our homes while all that power is freely sloshing around, Stephen Miller and Russell fucking Vogt are going to try and snatch it. The thing we have to do now is we step out, we reclaim our power, and we exercise it. That is the point of No King's Day on October 18th. It is going to be the single largest day of protest in the history of the United States of America. No King's Day 1 was the single largest day of protest, and we are going to eclipse it. We are going to far outpace it on No King's Day 2 this coming Saturday. There are 2,500 plus events already scheduled around the United States. We have folks standing in solidarity with us in Europe, in Mexico, in Canada. Millions and millions of people on Saturday will be refusing to hide in their closet. But one of the things that we've got to understand is that, we can get educated, we can be savvy, we can and should be creative and adaptive, right? So every time the regime tries to do something terrible and horrible, every time they try and claim power that they don't have, every time they pull out some kind of tactic like stingrays or some kind of other spyware software like graphite, or when ICE escalates their brutal tactics, those are all attempts to get us to go and hide. Those are attempts to chill dissent, but they create a situation in which we get to choose how to respond. They get to act, we get to choose how to react. And there is a lot of power in that because these fuckers in the federal government, they're choosing to take some illegal actions. Hundreds of millions of us who all have our own dose of power, we get to decide how we respond. And the more we choose to respond collectively, strategically, together, as an aggregated people of the United States of America, pooling our power together, pooling our resources, building our skills, and making sure that we are strategic about the actions that we take. Choosing to take action, choosing to take on some small measure of risk as we stand up together and defend and exercise our basic constitutional rights. When we're doing that shit, these sad, petty, declining men who are deeply unpopular but desperate to hold on to power despite so much evidence that their grasp on that power is slipping, which is why they are becoming increasingly desperate, why they are engaged in more frantic, brutal attempts to clamp down and to scare us into submission. Because at the end of the day, the only tool they really have is this propaganda machine, right? The only thing that they have is trying to convince us to give up. As long as we keep exercising our rights, as long as we keep defending our liberty, they cannot win. Right? They're really amping up the tactics because they're spiraling, because they know it's all slipping through their fingers. They've got one last chance to try and scare us into submission, and we're not fucking taking the bait. We're not going to do it. We are normal, everyday Americans who will continue to exercise our protected constitutional rights. We will not cower. We will not go hide in our closet. It's not, I won't obey in advance. It's fuck you, make me, right? That meme says, when you say, I won't obey in advance, that puts some potential that I will obey in the future when it's no longer in advance. No, fuck you, make me. I'm not going to obey. I'm not going to hand over my constitutional rights. I will not hand over my liberty. This is our country. It doesn't belong to the fucking fascists. It belongs to us, the people. The power ultimately lies with us. So that power sloshing around right now, we're all grasping onto it, and we will be wielding that power on October 18th on No King's Day. And then we will continue to hold on to the power that is ours as we stand arm in arm with our fellow Americans, as we organize, as we strategize, as we engage in the kind of sustained nonviolent resistance tactics that we know will be successful. This is not a quick sprint. This is a marathon. And right now, the Trump regime is trying to get you to lay down when you're about 7 miles in. And we're not fucking doing that. If they're trying to scan my phone, then I'm going to get a Faraday bag, or I'm going to leave my phone at home. I'm not going to go hide. Their tactics are not going to work on us. You have to make a decision. Their tactics are not going to work on you. You have to make a conscious choice that your posture, your position is fuck you, make me. That's it. If the way that they win is by getting us to give up, then we will deprive them of a victory. The victory is ours. This is our country. We are going to be unafraid as we turn out on Saturday, No King's Day. And not only will we be unafraid, but we will be connecting with millions of other. We'll be standing and marching and singing, blowing our bubbles, dancing, connecting with millions of other people in solidarity as we all show up to defend democracy and build our networks and show the world that there's massive public opposition to the cruelty and the illegality of the Trump regime, that we want and deserve an America that is of, by, for the people, and not an America with a king. America has no kings. We are a country with a constitution. We are a country that is a representative democracy, and we will tolerate nothing less. No Kings is going to be fucking fantastic. I'll see y'all out there on Saturday.